gently finding yourself in a comfortable position. A position where you can be alert, but also comfortable, a place of dignity and grace. And I invite you to leave any roles, responsibilities, worrying outside the door, giving yourself the gift of presence for about the next 10 minutes or so as we drop into this meditation for grief and sadness. So grounding yourself in this moment, I invite you to just bring your awareness to your breath, however that looks, however that's the most easiest for you. The sounds, or the rise and fall of your belly with each breath. Not trying to control or fix it, just bringing awareness to what's here. Maybe touching into feeling your legs against the ground or your feet touching the ground, giving you that sense of groundiness in this moment. And as we sit in this place of groundedness, of stillness, I invite you now to bring to mind an image of something or someone you're grieving, a loss. When you bring that image to mind, I invite you, first of all, to check, is there any way that you might be running from this loss? Or there might be a hint of blame or denial or soothing with addictions, which could be social media, alcohol. There's so many things. So I invite you to just, for a moment, recognize, are you disconnecting from this, from feeling this grief in any way, shape, or form? And if you are, to just open to it with kindness, with a loving awareness. Recognizing that the grief is there, the pain is there. And as we get into deeper of what it is you're feeling, I invite you to name it. Name the emotion. Is it recognizing that you're fearful without this person, without this hope? You feel a void, something missing? Or is it just sadness? Or again, anger, resentment, blame? What is the feeling that's there with this grief? So once you recognize it and you name it with this, again, this kind, loving attention, I invite you to allow it. Allow whatever feeling, whatever emotion is there. Like clouds in the sky, it belongs. Whatever emotion is present, it belongs. It doesn't matter what it is. In this practice, we're learning to deepen our presence with what is a clear seeing for what's here. Is there sadness, regret, so once we create this space of allowing, just letting it be here, and however that looks, and maybe even just breathe into it for a moment, knowing that no matter how grief shows up, it's always unpleasant. And then once we can really create this space of allowing whatever emotion to be here, then we go into the I in rain, the investigate. Once you recognize and allow whatever emotion, first of all, can you feel it in the body? And if you can't, just knowing there's no right or wrong, it's just being present with what is here and creating a curious attention. That's what this investigating part is about, creating a curious attention. What is the hardest part about grieving? Whatever it is, the loss of a person, of hope, of dreams, of maybe a job. What is it? And if you can locate this feeling in the body, I invite you to sense into this feeling. Is it in the heart? Is it in the gut? Maybe the throat? And just ask it. What is the worst thing about grieving this particular situation or person? Is there fear underneath it? Is there a sense of clinging, not wanting to let go? If you can feel it in the body, I invite you to ask that sensation. And without thinking about it, because if you're in your head, you won't get an answer. But if some answer pops up out of your being, listen to it. And if you notice you get too much into your head, as you're deepening the presence with this grief, I invite you to get out of the head and come into the body by, again, just taking a deep breath, maybe putting your hand on your heart or rubbing your hands back and forth. Whatever you can do to just get out of the head and into the body, into the sensation. And if you can't feel a sensation in the body, again, there's no right or wrong. It's just being present with what is. setting the intention to get curious. Get curious with whatever is that deepest longing or fear or just heartbreak. And once you feel it in the body, or once you just have a word that sits with you of what you're grieving and where it is, now I invite you to ask that emotion or that sensation in the body, how can I be with you? From this objective place, almost as if you're holding a baby in your arms that's crying or it's upset, or a little child, and you're asking that child, how can I be with you? So you're asking this pain, this emotion, this sensation, how can I be with you? And then just wait. See if any words come up, your heart knows how it wants you to hold it during this time. Maybe it's words of encouragement. Maybe it's a hand on the heart. Maybe that's a spiritual being holding presence for you as you grieve. Maybe it's giving yourself a hug. Maybe it's grabbing an animal, a pet in the house, or a stuffed animal. How does your grief want you to be with it? When I feel grief and pain, I really like to put my hand in my heart and tell myself, you'll be okay. I'm here for you. It's okay to cry. How does your pain or grief want you to be with it? And again, if you're in your head, drop back in your body, take a breath, and breathe. Let the words come to you. Really just being present. And once those words come to you of how this grief wants you to be with it, just really awaken to being present with this pain, this grief. The more you attend to the grief in the body, the more you will heal, the faster the process will go. The more you stay disconnected with blame or shame or not forgiving someone or yourself, the more you distract and keep yourself from really feeling this pain, the more you will stay disconnected from your body, and you will not process, you will not heal. I know it's so painful. Grief and sadness is emotional. Pain is, I feel, the worst. But it needs this presence, this loving, kind presence. So I invite you now to maybe put your hand in your heart and just listen to these words of this poem. Your grief for what you've lost lifts a mirror up to where you're bravely working, expecting the worst you look, and instead here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see. Your hand opens and closes and opens and closes. If it were always a fist or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings. So it is.